And we are back with the One Punch Man manga. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been way too long. Here we go. Our cover page today is Saitama knocking out a monster very similar to chapter 1. Unfortunately, this is an extremely short chapter, although the art is amazing, but I wasn't really expecting a chapter until next month, so pretty happy to get anything at this point from One Punch Man. Also, just a reminder before we jump into the chapter, at Anime Expo 2025, so early July, I believe we are getting the full trailer for One Punch Man Season 3. They have a bunch of voice actors showing up. It's a pretty big deal. They've been announcing a lot, and usually at these big conventions, it's when they reveal teasers and trailers for upcoming anime. So I can expect that early next month, in just a couple weeks, we'll get the trailer, the full one, for One Punch Man Season 3. Also, if you're starving for more One Punch Man content, I just released episode 4 of the Saitama vs. Monster God series. Things are really heating up as they just went into the 7th dimension to continue fighting. This is my fan-made project, and I would love if you guys would support it by watching it, sharing it with your friends, and even better if you can support us on Patreon because we hired a whole team of artists to help. Alright, without further ado, let's jump into this chapter. Mastar. So it starts off with Saitama buying some bananas. He's at the Tuyu Umai food, and it appears that there's some sort of sale going on right now. And then it goes over to just this beautiful landscape shot here of the Gyro Metro, Saitama walking with his groceries and bumping into Genos. For whatever reason, Murata decided to go all out with the landscape here in this chapter, and I really like it. This reminds me a lot of Prime Murata. He used to spend a lot more time on the landscapes, and it just really gives that mesmerizing, high contrast look to each page. Saitama bumps into Genos and he's like, "Oh, I was just shopping for the special sale, did you miss it?" And Genos says, "I was fighting a strong demon level monster," which accounts for why he is missing his arm right now. Genos tells Saitama that Dr. Kuseno has shown an interest in Saitama's abilities and we'd like to test them out. Both the Saitama vs. Genos rematch, as well as we know, minor spoilers here from the webcomic, Dr. Kuseno uses one of his machines to analyze Saitama's strength. That's kind of leading into where we are in the Mad Cyborg arc of the webcomic at the moment. Saitama asks Genos, "What did you buy?" And he says, "Green onion, sashimi, and a banana that was on sale." And Saitama is like, "Oh, so you're finally grasping the tips for shopping, how to buy stuff on sale." And Genos says, "AAA batteries too, it was half price." And Saitama freaks out. He's like, "What? I missed that." You also notice that at several points here throughout this chapter, there are people spying on Saitama, and this appears to be the Tanito, the Heavenly Ninja. Now that Empty Void and Blast have gone somewhere off into the realm between space and time, the Heavenly Ninja are seemingly aimless. They wanted Saitama to train them, but Saitama said no, and so it seems like they're spying on him. You can see a couple images here in the chapter. I guess these guys are just like pure gag characters now at this point. But as Saitama and Genos are walking down the street, someone stops them, and it is Amai Mask, who says, "You guys are too strong." Amai Mask being one of the only heroes that really knows Saitama's true power. But as the series continues, more and more of the S-rank heroes especially are learning Saitama's secret, and Amai Mask is one of them. So Amai Mask's mini arc is about to begin, and he says, "Tomorrow at noon, I want to get tea because I want to consult with you over something that happened." And if you're not familiar with Amai Mask's powers or what exactly he is, you're going to get introduced very quickly to see like what his true form is. Throughout the anime and the manga, they've teased him kind of monsterifying a little bit, but they've never actually shown what he truly looks like, and Murata is going to bless us with that in the very near future. So for the last half of the video, I want to talk about a controversy surrounding One Punch Man that appeared about a week ago. And as you know, for Season 3, they've been steadily releasing these character visuals. We recently got Monster King Orochi, but most recently we just got Gums and Evil Mineral Water, also known as Evil Natural Water. Now, this picture started to circulate and fans were freaking out because they're like, wow, what did they do to my boy? They dulled him down, and there was some some controversy on X, a couple YouTube videos made about the quality of evil mineral water. So this is like a point of contention for me specifically because I feel like the reason that people are complaining mainly is because they just don't know anything about animation. So it comes from like a place of entitlement. You don't want CGI, which is understandable, but when they give us the 2D version with 5 gradients of shading, people still complain. And these fans, what they want is like perfect animation all the time, like completely replicating Murata's non-replicatable style. To be able to animate something like this in 2D would take forever, and it's just not feasible. But a lot of these complaints come from people who just simply don't understand the animation process. They don't understand that even animating 5 gradients of shading to make him look like water is still ridiculously time-consuming. And yes, JC Staff is under the microscope now because of One Punch Man Season 2 flopping and Season 3 being on the way, and fans are concerned, rightfully so, but what I'm trying to tell you is this is not bad. So everybody who's telling you that this is bad, your only options to replicate Murata's art style in animation format are very high levels of shading like they did in Season 1, or go CGI, which if they go CGI, everybody's gonna freak out. Water that has 5 gradients of shading is actually very good, and it's still incredibly difficult to animate that. I feel like we've reached a point in the anime community where expectations are just way too high. I completely understand the justified response after the Season 2 flop, but people haven't even really seen the 3rd trailer yet. It's supposed to come out a few weeks from now. And it feels like the entitlement level is at an all-time high. They're just jumping the gun. They're making a lot of assumptions. 5 gradients of shading isn't good enough anymore. CGI isn't good enough anymore. And most of these people aren't even paying for One Punch Man. Most of these people who are consuming the content are watching and reading it for free. People still complain. And it really doesn't matter which anime it is, whether it's One Punch Man or Dragon Ball Daima or whatever it is. For whatever reason, the level of entitlement in the anime community is just way too high these days. People expect perfection all the time, and most of that really just comes from ignorance of not really understanding the animation process. Throughout my career on YouTube, I've tried to explain these things to people. I've tried to break it down. I've done numerous videos on it, explaining the process, explaining why it's difficult, what goes into it, why a whole 1-hour episode can't come out every day or every week, which people seem to expect all the time. But when I explain it, it's like people don't listen. They just continue to consume the content for free, not learn how it's made, and then complain all over the place. I just see, I know it's an angry world right now, but I just see everyone complaining all the time, all over the place. And most of the time it's about things that they don't really understand, which is obvious from their posts. And it's frustrating because when anime started to grow, it was so appreciated, but now we're, I guess, so oversaturated with it. People have seen so many top tier anime. I feel like the bar is set so high, it's kind of bottlenecking at this point, and people's expectations are unreasonable. It's just like impossible to satisfy people unless you give them a new episode with perfect quality animation every single week. And with the amount of stimulation, if you're not constantly feeding them content, they like lose interest very quickly. In any case, I needed to rant about this a little bit because no matter what JC Staff gives us, people are going to complain. And I guess I would like those people to be a little more appreciative about what actually goes into these projects. I mean, I know JC Staff is stressed out. They have a whole lot on the line, but constantly bashing them over every single little detail is completely counterproductive. Let's see what the Season 3 trailer shows, because the Garo teaser was impressive, so we'll find out in a couple weeks, but thanks for coming to my TED Talk.